What's up, dude?
Did you see the picture?
The one you sent me this morning?
Yes, that one.
Of the Texas Dems on the plane?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did you see the freaking picture? Can you believe it?
That's a big story. Yeah, well, I can believe it for sure. I mean, it's a bit audacious. I can believe they did it. I mean, they're a minority party. What are they going to do?
Well, not do what they did. How about that? Maybe, I don't know, do the respectable Texas thing.
Well, yeah, you're the minority party. They're trying to make a show, man. You know that when they get back, this is all going to wash over, right? This is just for show. They're just posturing at this point.
This is not going to wash over. No.
I mean,
this is crap.
I get it, but you realize that they're just doing this for Joe Manchin.
No, all of them should be thrown into prison. Throw away the key. I mean,
they currently
think about it.
They currently are fugitives. I mean, it's weird that they're flying on a private jet. And most fugitives don't fly on a private jet, but no, they're currently fugitives because didn't the Texas House called to convene Congress, and so they're currently fugitives. So I mean, they're not going to go to prison though. No, they're
going to go to prison because they went to D.C. in the way they went, and every Texan should be behind this.
So they're going to go to prison.
No favoritism at all.
So private jets take you to prison, or not doing your job takes you to prison. I've not done my job before. I didn't go to prison.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You're the one that sent me the picture. This is about
it should be pretty obvious.
This is about the congressman leaving and going to D.C. to talk to Joe Manchin. Well, it'll be fine. They're just going to call another special session when they get back. It'll be fine.
That's part. No, you didn't pay attention to the picture.
Yes, I did. Democrats on a plane singing a bunch of civil rights era songs and things like that. I saw the picture. I saw the article.
No, you didn't, because you would have focused on they have freaking Miller Lite. It should be Shiner. This is Texas. Who gets Miller Lite in Texas? Are you freaking kidding me? You're gonna take that.
No. Pause. This we're trying to get on the show docket, and you want to talk about Miller Lite? I'm not talking about Miller Lite on the show.
No.
I'm not talking about Miller Lite on the show. I love Shiner like anybody else. I'm a Texan. I get it, right? No, that's ridiculous. We're going to talk about things that actually matter to Texans, and Miller Lite
actually matters.
Miller Lite, Shiner's not even the best Texas beer. You're going to sit here and say that they have to carry Shiner?
No. Whatever.
No, James.
What?
I love you, buddy.
Love you too.
Hey, howdy, and welcome all to the Big and Bright Podcast. My name is Nick. This here next to me is James.
Howdy.
Guys, we leave you alone for a week, and everything just goes crazy, right?
It's been beautiful.
This has been such. I could never have expected this. I could never have expected
tears
this.
of joy, Nick.
Joy?
Tears of joy.
This is not a joyful thing.
Never has a news cycle confirmed my bias so hard. It has been awesome.
It's confirmed your bias?
Yes, it has. I've been right about everything, and I've picked this week to show all of my biases. Therefore, it's true. It's been beautiful.
You were right. You were right about one thing.
Nope, all of it.
You were right about a thing. A thing. And now the thing that you were right about happens to define this entire week of this session. In case you guys have been living under a rock and you haven't, especially those of you who live in Texas, right? If you haven't turned on the news at all, which, I commend you. I applaud you if you don't.
If you haven't been able to because the grid failed in your area.
Yeah, right. If in case you guys have been living under a rock, the Texas Democrats did it again. They walked out. Well, but you can say, why can't we just force them to come back? Why can't we just basically force compliance? Because, of course, these are public servants, and we should be able to do that.
We'll get to those questions.
We are able to do that, but here's the thing. They, this time, didn't walk out of the building. They walked out of the state of Texas. and they fled to Washington, D.C. They got on a private jet and fled to Washington, D.C.
The swampiest of swamps.
All of these out of touch rubes decide that they're going to do this. And the thing is, if you're going to do it, if you're going to fly private jet and you're going to go to Washington, D.C., that's fine. Be discreet about it, right? Do so
No.
discreetly. No, they
You gotta show it
filmed
off.
themselves. They Instagrammed themselves on their private jet going to Washington, D.C. to live in the lap of luxury on the dime of our national senators at our taxpayer money.
They're
and
fighting
they
for
think,
freedom, Nick.
And they think we're going to be sympathetic to them.
Fighting for freedom.
They
you don't
are
understand.
not fighting for freedom. I do understand. I read
They
that
will
stupid
remain,
article.
according to Houston Chronicle, Representative Jasmine Crockett from Dallas has said they will remain in D.C. for the remainder of the session because they're fighting for your liberty.
They're not fighting for your liberty. They're fighting
They
for
took
their
2 chartered
own,
flights. Don't worry about that part.
They're fighting
paying
for
for
their
that?
own political benefit. We're paying for it.
Nope.
Your
No,
taxpayer
you're
dollars.
not.
Who's
They're
paying?
chartered. You cannot be making us pay on that.
Oh, that's true.
It's a
You're
great
right.
question. Who's paying for it, Nick? That's a great question.
Oh, it's someone. I mean, someone in D.C. It's clearly someone in D.C.
Why are
Someone from the administration, someone in D.C. paid for them to do it because this was always planned.
Well,
This
no. According to the VP Harris, they are showing extraordinary courage and commitment.
No,
Just-
they are not.
Oh my gosh.
No, they are not. They're living in luxury
Moment of silence,
right now.
Nick. This is just
Well,
tough.
we took a 30-day vacation to go talk to Joe Manchin.
Oh, whoa. According to Michelle Beckley, this is not a vacation.
It absolutely is a vacation.
But they're not
What
doing
are you
their
doing?
jobs.
You're certainly not doing your job. You're certainly not doing what
I'm
we
just
pay
saying,
you
if
to
the
do.
VP is on your side for the votes, I don't think you realize she didn't get any herself.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Maybe you're on the wrong side.
if anybody wants to expand the number of people in the voting pool, it would be Kamala Harris. Granted, given the fact that she received
No votes.
0 votes in the primary, and then she received her ticket received votes in the general election.
You
She
have
received
my
0 votes.
vote. Well, that's 0.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
I
Help
cannot
me
express.
out
I
a
cannot
lot.
express to you, especially Texans, and this is one of those things that unless you live in maybe a southern state or a state that has a particular amount of provincial pride, like some non-southern states, like New York has this, for example. If you live in Ohio or Indiana, probably not, right? But if you live in a state like Texas, it is difficult to explain how little we care what happens in the DC forum, right?
Yep.
Especially when you're talking about someone like Kamala Harris trying to tell me how I need to live my life.
That's pretty dumb on your part. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, oh,
my ability to care is faulting.
Texas didn't vote that way. You're on the wrong side, and the votes that you're not getting because you're the minority party in the state means state doesn't go your way either. Like, no one gives a crap for your side right
So
now.
here's what I'm asking myself, right? As I've been turning this over in my head, and I've done so many times, I have to think, what is their strategy? Is this just posturing? Are they just flamboyantly posturing? Because clearly, I mean, we read that AP article that basically compared them to the marchers at Selma,
Oh.
right? And they've been
They're
singing
brave.
they've been singing civil rights hymns on the bus.
Well, trying to.
Who do you think you are? You pretentious rubes. I cannot, they're sitting there sipping Chianti and Miller Lite, singing songs for people who had the fire hose turned on them, and they're daring to compare themselves to those people. You are not heroes. You're just people who are absent your job, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that you are.
Well,
but
there
there are articles all over the internet that are doing that.
Yeah, well, according to Texas Tribune, the reason why they chose D.C. is to shout and scream for H.R. 1, which is the Affordable the Peoples Act / Corrupt Politicians Act.
Yeah.
They want it to be passed so they don't have to do their jobs here in Texas. Just think about it. If I'm a voter for them, like I like them, sure, all right. Do I really want my state representative advocating in the federal level? Stay in your lane.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying.
we have members of National Congress that we elected to do that.
Right. So say I affirm blank. Why are you going? We don't need you here.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, We're only noticing it because right now it's a cool narrative for the Democrats to say, rah, rah, look at those Democrats. They're like you said, Selma. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Well, they're just saying that right now. But just think about it. They're not really that relevant to the rest of the United States. No one gives a crap because
really
it got filibustered the first time. You think
really
it's going to pass it again?
But the strategy, and I think you put your finger on it there just a second. They're up there to talk about HR1.
Yeah.
Because
they don't want to do their jobs.
They are betting because they know that they're not going to get this thing passed. And of course, if they come back at the end of the special session in August, what happens, James?
Oh, we're going to do another one.
We're going to call another one.
Oh,
yeah,
how about that?
We're going to keep doing. You're going to vote on this one way or another, right? You're going to get these items done. Because Abbott's just going to call another special session. Their strategy, what they are hoping to do, is to lobby hard enough on behalf of people like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema at the national level for HR1, so that then when they get back, whatever law they pass here is then superseded by the federal law. And they don't have to vote. That's their goal.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
And so Joe Manchin, I have never wanted to say this before, but Joe Manchin, this really is in your hands. You really need to not listen to these people.
I don't think he's going to get rid of the filibuster. I think he's kind of already made his stance. They may keep reminding him like, "Hey Joe, hey Joe, hey Joe."
Yeah.
But he's going to say, "No."
Yeah,
no.
he's gonna because that's the other thing is this is not just passing HR1. It's not like Joe Manchin is holding out on HR1. Joe Manchin is holding out on ending the filibuster, which by the way he should do because
if you remember, Nick, way back on our secession episode, that's when I told you we should start talking about it. If we get rid of that filibuster, I think Texas should very much entertain the idea of, so why are we still in this?
Let's talk about
but that's another subject.
Let's talk about the irony here. What is the filibuster? The filibuster is a minority protection. Okay? Now, the Democrats, by leaving and denying a quorum, have said that they're using their version of a minority protection. It's not. By the way, a quorum was never designed to be a minority protection. A quorum was meant to prevent basically 3 senators from walking into, or 3 congressmen from walking in.
Oh, we're in session.
And saying we're in session, vote. That's what a quorum is for, okay? A quorum was not meant so that you could take your ball and go home.
It's basically,
right. That's not how this works, right? But they are saying we're using our minority protections to go to D.C. and tell Joe Manchin to eliminate minority protections. You people,
we're mad at you.
You are such worm-brained nincompoops. I can't. I'm trying so hard to be polite.
Can't be played because we don't look at videos that are 4 weeks old. Man, shut up. That's old news. We're talking about today.
I don't care.
So I never said that.
Well, we're. I'm sorry. It's so shocking to see Democrats lobby for minority protection.
So I've actually heard this from a couple friends because I mentioned that we're gonna have some fun with this on our podcast this week because they made it easy. Like I said, I mean, you're just gonna confirm my bias.
You did it.
It's awesome.
You did. We said last week, I bet they walk out again. And you did it. Wow. That was... That's
slightly
nice
different,
play-by-play.
so it wasn't a famous sports show that I just made. Anyways, has this been done before? But here's what I got told by friends. Like, has this been done before? Because I asked them to see if they knew.
Yeah.
And their response was, I didn't see the GOP caring too much in Oregon State. Senators did this back in 2019 because the Republicans walked out. Didn't care then.
Yep.
My response was, well, yeah, we didn't because it's not our state. I don't give a crap about Oregon.
I don't care about
but they passed also some other fun laws this past national election. We kind of mentioned it, but I don't give a crap. It's not my state.
Yeah.
I didn't know Texas is supposed to give a crap about some other state senators, showing again, you're not really that relevant, Democrat state senators. You are for the week. And then you'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Who are they? But here, 2003. 2003. Guess who did it?
The GOP.
No. In Texas. Guess who did it in 2003 for Texas?
The Democrats?
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. They went to Oklahoma and New Mexico. You went to Oklahoma.
Well,
really?
They can get there quickly. You can get to Oklahoma pretty quick. Well, not from Austin, you can't.
But
Oklahoma, New Mexico.
But they also went to New Mexico.
New Mexico's nice. I'm just saying I like New Mexico. I think it's
I'm
really
fine with that,
there.
but you went to Oklahoma?
Yeah, not Oklahoma.
Yeah. Anyways,
go to
this
New
is according
Mexico.
to Texas Tribune. They did this in 2003. The Attorney General in Oklahoma and New Mexico talking about arresting them at that time, saying the Texas Rick Perry, that was our governor at the time, asked, could we do this? And he said, the New Mexico Attorney Generals for both states, for Oklahoma and New Mexico, said, no, we're not going to issue a warrant. Yeah. We're not going to go arrest them. If they're not in your state, you have no jurisdiction. And they're right. It's because, again, not my state, not my problem.
Yeah. I'm so sick of this. And I understand the need for minority protections. And the filibuster, I think, has, I can't say that I'm a big fan of the filibuster, even though right now the GOP is the minority party and they can use the filibuster. I can't say that I'm a big fan of it.
Well, the filibuster is in place for just that. Yeah. Like you said,
it was designed as a minority
quorum was not put in for that, because quorum was supposed to be saying, we have witnesses that this happened. And this is not two or three guys saying, it's heavily debated, but no one was there, so we voted.
This is so ham-handed. This is such... You're just grasping at anything that you can do, and this is not going to work.
No,
you're not going
it didn't work in 03.
You're not
because they came back because it was about redistricting, and they were like, "All right, so we're going to vote the lines in." Yeah, because you're going to have to eventually come back home.
You're not going to get your policy prescriptions, and Democrats. I understand. I understand that you think, well, we're going to gin up our base, right? That's the other thing that they have to think about is if we can get the people that voted for us excited about what we're doing. Then when we come back and we get elected, we'll get reelected, and we'll have an excited base because they think that we're.
Because 2022 isn't that far away.
I don't think you fully understand what you're doing. If that's the case, you do not understand what's waiting for you here. Particularly those of you who live in very, very light blue districts. I'm looking at you, Michelle Beckley. Right? Those of you who are in these areas where it's just kind of a
She's also another martyr.
Right? Those of you who were flipped in those unexpected things, that can happen again, and it will if you keep this crap up. Because what you're saying
is not that long. People's time frame can be like, I made sure to pay attention to this. I know when the next election is.
What you are telling your constituents is that me having my political posturing and my political future is more important than me doing my job, which is what we elected and pay you to do. Come back, sit down, do your job, quit being a baby.
Right.
You're going to lose your district.
Well, the many articles I sent to you, because the National has, for some reason, again, cared about Texas. Well, the Democrats explained they were fighting to protect voting rights. By the way they would do that was by urging Congress to pass voting rights legislation that would preempt states from passing restrictive legislation, what they declare restrictive.
And there's nothing in this bill that's restrictive.
You're not going to be king about declaring what's restrictive or not. Because what you're getting rid of in Texas isn't restrictive at all. You just don't like that you're undoing what was allowed during Rona. Too bad. Rona's over.
There's nothing in this bill that's restrictive. We're taking away drive-through voting. We're taking away 24-hour voting. We're saying that you have to show ID when you show up at the party, when you show up to vote, right? For whatever.
We're going to monitor mail-ins a lot more.
By the way, everybody has ID. A lot of jobs you have to submit ID, right? You have to have an ID to drive a car. You have to have an ID to.
You ever got an apartment?
Yeah, you have to have an ID to get out an apartment. You have to have an ID to go to a bank. You have to have an ID to go get beer. You have to have an ID to do anything that you want. But it's oppressive to show voter ID at the polls. Why? Because the people, it is.
You want that voter ID for those gun rights, don't you?
The people in the Democrats specifically are advocating for no voter ID because the people that they are interested in showing up to the polls are not citizens and not legally allowed to vote. So no. We are not restricting any legal citizens who currently have the privilege of voting from going up and showing up and voting, okay? There are real issues with elections that we can discuss. The stuff that's in this legislation is not those issues, and you're being babies. Just come back and do your freaking job.
For some of those who don't know, but for the House rules for Texas, our Texas Constitution requires 100 of the 150 House members to be present. Senate needs 21 of 31.
Yes.
Fun fact, some senators actually went to D.C. to show solidarity, and it wasn't enough for quorum. Yeah. So, Senate can still pass crap.
And Senate's passed
And the Senate has passed a lot of bills. What's kind of funny is that a lot of the Abbott's primary things he wanted passed all of it's been passed by the state Senate
Yeah.
in the first week. So we may not have needed 30 days.
Well, it's passed by the Senate. Does that make it law? Or does
Nope,
it mean it goes to the House?
You still need quorum in the House to actually ratify it. Therefore, that is how they are breaking this whole thing up. But there was a call in the House,
Yes.
which allows us to arrest them and bring them back to the state capitol. Not a lot's really there guaranteed. Some have said that they can put them in jail.
No, you can't put them in
Not
jail.
exactly. They can make them come back to
You can make them
job.
come back and do their job. Yeah.
Because it's not a felony per se. So that's why, like I said in 2003, whenever Rick Perry asked their attorney generals to administer warrants, they said no, because this isn't a felony. We're not going to do your job.
That's why you have to leave the state.
Yeah, that's why they did. That's why they
because
left
if
the
you're
state.
still in Texas jurisdiction, we can just
But they went to
round you
DC
up.
this time on charter jets. That's we don't know who paid for advocating a federal law that preempts their own state. So what they got voted in to do, they are saying no, we want them to do our job.
Yeah.
Guess who called the call of the House?
Was that Phelan?
No, a speaker I don't think can actually call it. He has to acknowledge the call. This was Representative Will Metcalf. Little shout out to the surname's sake there.
Is he your kin?
I have no idea, but I'm gonna claim him now.
Okay.
He's a representative from Conroe. He moved the issue and it got voted in 79 to I think 4.
Yeah.
Like it got voted in. Like, yeah, we're doing this.
Okay, so
because that doesn't actually need quorum to be called.
No, yeah. So it's called to the House saying, "Hey, you guys got to show up." But
right, because the vote is specifically because there aren't people there, and so if they're doing it intentionally to break quorum, then it's like, okay, the voters that remain, do you want to do this on them? Yes. Okay, so they step back in the state, then we're going to move.
Again, it doesn't mean a lot unless they're in the state.
Yeah. That's the teeth.
So then we get into this question: is how long is this game of chicken going to go on?
I don't know.
They're going until the end of this session,
but there is some fallout.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. But Abbott's going to call another session.
Yeah.
So are they going to stay for? Are they going to stay for another 30 days? Are you going to stay until we actually get to the next session, the next actual session in 2 years? All right. Are you going to do that? Because I guarantee you, we will not vote you in if you haven't been in the state in 2 years. I mean, that's obviously a bit on the extreme side.
And it's still kind of hinky about what exactly Abbott can do. Like, for instance, you're not here to do your job. You're not doing your job. You're intentionally avoiding your job.
Yeah.
So how long does it need to be until that seat is declared vacant?
And so we just hold special elections to refill them?
Right. But how long will that take? Still not having quorum, still fulfilling the whole objective.
I don't know if there's anything in Texas law about that.
I don't think there really is either.
That hasn't happened before. And pray that doesn't happen. Pray that these Democrats just wake up and realize
I mean, even in redistricting 03, Democrats then go, all right, we made our point.
Yeah.
Like, we're going back.
We're going to go back. We're going to vote.
But there has been response by both sides already.
Well, we've already seen what was it? The Speaker Pro Tem lost his position.
Yeah, Joe Moody. He was from El Paso, according to El Pasonic.
The El Pasoan?
ElPasonic.com news.
San Diegans.
Yes.
El Pasoans.
They served this position, or he served this position for 2 sessions, which, if you don't know, for Texas sessions only happens every other year. So that means 4 years roughly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was stripped of that position. What is a Speaker Pro Tem, Nick?
Speaker Pro Tem is somebody that fulfills the jobs of the Speaker of the House if the Speaker of the House is not present or unable to fulfill his duties.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, you didn't look that up at all.
No, I didn't look it up, James. I looked it up to
Off
confirm
the dome,
it,
huh?
but I knew that's what it was. I
Off
just
the
had to look it up for confirmation purposes. Yeah. The point is that title's been stripped of him, and so how long is it before we extend that to say, okay, you're just not even going to be a speaker or you're not even going to be a House member anymore.
I don't know.
A congressman anymore.
There has been a return flight sent, though, by Dan Phelan. That's the House Speaker.
That is the current Speaker.
He has sent a plane to Dulles Airport, which is near D.C., to get the Dems to come on back.
Yeah.
He has actually said his political campaign, not taxpayers, we'll see about that later on, I'm sure people are going to look into that, would be paying for the flight to fly them back. The Dems have already said, it's a waste of time.
You're not coming.
We're not coming.
Well, I mean
so it's political theater.
That is a waste of time, and that is political theater.
But it's fun theater.
Yeah, we're
talking about Texas.
It's fun to watch, and of course we're always talking. I mean, Texas is one of the more relevant states in this country.
Yeah, because we matter.
It must be crazy to live in a state that doesn't matter. It must be crazy to live in I don't know, Ohio,
Delaware.
They
only matter when it comes to incorporating your business.
It's a waste of time. And honestly, I don't like that. Even when it's coming from, regardless of the side that it's coming from, I don't like it when people are like, I'm going to send a plane. We're like, they're not going to get on it, dude. Just wait.
But he can say he tried.
And
guess what happens probably for him next year?
He gets reelected.
Oh, there it is. So I got my campaign ad. I care about our democracy. They don't care about our democracy. Dan Phelan, 2022.
I can't reelect Dan Phelan because he's not in our district. But I mean, if I were, he'd have my vote, right?
So it worked.
You guys, Democrats, you are on razor thin ice right now, and I don't think you understand that. I don't think you realize that this backlash is going to be serious, and it's going to hurt a lot.
Oh yeah,
in the next election, I'm telling you, you guys are going to suffer as a result of this, depending on how long you keep it up. Because I have a feeling we made a joke about 2022 so far away. It is when you talk about a 24-hour news cycle. If you guys come back and just let this all blow over, you could recover from this.
Right now, they're riding the media's coattails. The media loves it because, like I said, it's fun to talk about. But, I mean, it's the first week. What about day 20? Day 25? Are we still giving you interviews? Are you still getting all this Twitter following? Are you still posting this and people are actually going, yeah, fight? Or they're going to go, all right, come on, like, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, because even already, people have pointed out going, so Abbas is going to redo this. Like you said earlier, he's going to keep doing this and doing this. So what's your long game here?
I don't know if you remember this.
Michelle Beckley decided to say in one of her CNN interviews, like, I'm not at liberty to say.
Yeah.
Okay. That means you got nothing.
You got
nothing.
It's obvious that you've got squat. Everybody knows that you've got squat. You're being children. And that's what drives me so nuts about this. It's not even about any sort of policy thing that I think is going to hurt us in the long run. I think that in the long run, Texas is going to be fine. These items are going to get passed. It's the fact that you people, we elected you to help run our state.
Yeah.
And we elected children to
run
our state.
Here's the thing, because, I mean, and I get it from, like, maybe not passing the law-wise, but Texas has been accused of being this suppressive state when it comes to the vote, mainly the black vote. No, okay, whatever. You haven't proved it.
Yeah.
Like, if Texas has been so suppressive already, before they even put this more restrictive law, why is not a Democrat watchdog group sued?
Yeah.
Made any kind of suit? You like, because there's right wingers all the time that do this, and that's how some of these Obama laws get knocked down. There's not a left wing one. By the way, the majority of the media, which is going to help you, they'll do it for you.
They've
just print off whatever they say and go, oh, look at that. See, there's evidence or whatever. Like, you got nothing.
They've got squat.
You can make all the claims, but you've not been willing to say, I'm going to bite. You know why? Because you'd be thrown out of court. You got nothing.
You are taking your ball and going home, and you're trying to make a big stink and a big show about it so that everybody gets all their feelings hurt. But oh gosh, I know I keep,
oh my gosh, there was a tweet about one of the representatives putting clothes on her shower hanger to dry them. Like, oh, look at us. Like,
my gosh.
Hold on, let me see if I actually have that. 'Cause I thought it was funny.
Oh, you're suffering so much. I feel so bad for you.
I think I sent this to you, and I don't think I'm making this up.
I don't think you sent it to me. You and I have had it's been a weird week talking about what we're putting on this show, on the show's itinerary.
Well, you keep going. I think I have it somewhere. I mean, it's fun.
The issue here is that
sorry, I'm interrupt you already.
Okay.
Donna Howard from Austin.
Mm-hmm.
She posted this on her Twitter. Mm-hmm. And it did not get well received at all.
Okay.
Because people are going, so you don't have a washer and dryer? Like, you're in D.C. You kidding me?
Yeah. No,
like, you're not some bowed up little
We know
cabin.
You aren't staying in a shanty.
Yeah.
And
how will they survive?
Again, the issue that we have to consult here is, okay, how long is this going to last? Because I don't know if you remember this, but when Donald Trump was president, the government got shut down.
Oh, loved it.
And for like 2 weeks, everyone was, wailing and gnashing of teeth. What will we do? There are government employees that won't receive their checks. Nothing is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, people got tired of that narrative. And I want to say it was maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks before people got tired of that narrative. And then eventually everyone went, the Democrats said, okay, we'll sign the bill.
Right, and that's why Abbott did the Title 10 funding.
Yeah,
because they're doing this. Well, his olive branch was all right, or his stick, because he said you're getting no carrot.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull this funding, and September 1, this funding is gonna be pulled.
Yep.
If no session happens. Well, they did it. Now, right now, no session will or no funding will happen after September 1. All those government workers they cared about on the federal level, but state level, screw those guys.
All those government workers,
screw those guys.
Those government workers, which, by the way, work for you. This is your department. These are people who work for you, and you don't care about their paychecks, right? You're gonna throw them under the bus
because their response is going to be, well, he shouldn't be doing it anyway. It's unconstitutional. Whatever.
It's not unconstitutional. It's a piece of legislation that's on the docket for a legislative session. That is the definition of constitution.
If we're not working, all right, pull.
And I'm so. The spectacle of this is what drives me crazy because again, this is all.
I just imagine
spectacle.
Abbott actually sitting out in the field, and it's like that he made the checks, like his little clay part on it, and he goes pull. And he's like, all right, he's not getting paid. Pull. Every minute you do this, Democrats, I'm just gonna keep shooting checks.
Just tape a check to a clay.
Sorry, Janet. Sorry, Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Donald just didn't get paid right
there.
That
would be fantastic. And here's the deal: if we're gonna have political theater, let's do it like that.
That'd be
Why
fun.
not? Let's just own it.
Yeah.
Right? Let's have some fun with this. But this isn't fun. This is just frustrating.
I find it fun.
This gives me a headache here. Like
right
it's
here?
one of those right there.
Well, what's passed? Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, let's talk about what has been passed. Nothing's been passed at this point.
Well, it's been passed in the Senate.
In the Senate, yes.
What,
give me some
Lieutenant
rays of
Governor
sunshine.
Dan Patrick said what he kind of like threw in my opinion, he kind of threw a little monkey wrench here. We have now completed the goal of passing every bill on the proclamation in the first week. So, if you don't remember, the only way a special session happens is because the governor calls it.
Yeah.
And he has some priority legislation, and mostly that's the reason why it has to be done, because he's showing a need. Well, if they passed everything and the Democrats come back like with 4 days ago and they go, all right, pass, hammer, just pass. Well, then he said, well, we didn't actually get to this part, though. I was like, oh, no, you have to hold no session. Or if it all gets passed, and he says, like, well, I think we should just talk about something else. Well, no, your priorities are done.
Yeah.
You got no priorities. So it could be a play here. I doubt it. But anyways, what the voting bill has passed. The bail reform has passed. What you don't know, if you don't know what that is, it was Senator Joan Huffman's bill says that this existing system is broken with dangerous offenders being released on minimal bond. Based on that, he doesn't want violent criminals to be put on the streets after endangering public safety. So they've done it to where they can kind of be more restrictive on who gets released on bail. That's passed, but that'll have to be voted on by us if it does pass the House, if they get quorum, because it's gonna change our Texas Constitution, and because we're a federalism state, thank goodness, we actually get to vote on it as a voter. So even if it's passed, that one actually won't be made law because it changes our Constitution. So that's a fun thing about our state. We actually don't get to run over everybody. We have to vote it in on some things.
That is true. Federalism.
SB2, which has been by Perry, that's passed, and that's basically saying transgender athletes have to go with the biological sex that were listed on their original birth certificate. Hopefully that doesn't mean, all right, now we got to change the birth certificate. So, but that's a whole new realm, the road later on.
So girls on the girls team, boys on the boys team.
Yeah, I don't care what you look like. You got what you got. Anyways, SB3 by Hughes. Hughes has been a huge person. This would ban teaching of critical race theory.
There we go.
SB4, Lucio.
Take it out. Get rid of it.
Yeah, ban distribution of this is no abortion drugs by mail order. It said it in a fancy little way. Abortifacient. See, whatever.
You're the lawyer. You're the words guy.
But I prefer to actually talk in regular speak. Anyways, SB5, again by Hughes. Create legal recourse for individuals who feel that they have been banned from social media for expressing political or religious viewpoints. We'll see how far that actually goes.
Yeah.
SB7 by Huffman would authorize bonus of annuity check for a retired educator. That's what they've called the 13th check. Feel free to look that part up. It's actually interesting about just getting one more check for those who are retired teachers, mostly. SB8 by Betancourt, coolest name, would allow home buyers to qualify for new home property tax exemption in the year they purchase their home.
Wow, that's
But like I said, none of this matters. No house quorum, no bills can become law.
I'm thinking about, because my wife and I bought our house three years ago, and I'm like, oh man, I could have gotten an extra tax benefit if I just waited a little bit. But it's impossible to buy a house in Texas right now because everyone wants to come here because we're the best state in the union, period. Here's why this is important. It's important because we've put it forward, and the Texans are doing their part, right? The Texans that remained, right? The Texans that want to stay and be Texans have done their part. They've put forward the agenda, and this is the other big thing. It's kind of a blessing in disguise for us meaning you and me specifically here on this podcast.
Why?
Because this special session is no longer 30 days. This special session is now going to go on for at least probably 60 days.
Just keep it going.
And you know
keep
what?
It going.
We're going to be here
and
the
every
whole
session will be
time.
just as special.
We're going to be here the whole time. And while you guys are sitting up there sipping champagne in D.C. with your swamp buddies, we're going to be right here. We're going to be talking about every piece of legislation on this docket. And we're going to be talking specifically about why you are running away from it and why you don't care about your own constituencies.
Oh, yeah.
All right? Because you can have those bootlickers at the AP talking to you, but we're talking you up. But we are not going to be so blinded. We're going to continue telling people the truth about what this is that you guys are doing. You're being children, absolute children.
Oh yeah.
And I know that I keep referring to the fact that this is just political theater, but it's the political theater that's getting me so riled up about this. I don't really have an issue.
Because they recognize we don't care. We're just doing this for whatever.
It's
Michelle Beckley.
Yes.
Michelle Beckley. One of her interviews that we'll be posting to you in the description. She even says to the person interviewing her, "Well, this is all a distraction. Like this whole voting thing is a distraction."
No, what you're doing is a distraction.
No. Here's the fun part. Here's what she didn't realize. She admitted the game here.
Yeah.
It's a distraction. Well, if it's a distraction, then why do you care? Why are you opposing it?
Yeah.
If it just means nothing, they're just doing this to gin up their base. Well, if it doesn't really change anything, then why are you leaving the state to not let it go into play and to worry about a federal law preempting our state law if it's not that distracting? So you admit that you don't like it. Okay, fine. Well, then don't call it a distraction. Don't try to play like it's some stupid little redneck thing that Republicans are doing. Yeah. Because it's not. It's showing that we're willing to fight finally, and you're not used to that. You're not used to Republicans actually fighting. You're used to them being very nice and trying to be cordial and say, all right, fine, let's find a compromise. They're saying, screw you, we're done compromising. You've played your hand, and we're not going to do it.
Yeah. And talked about ginning up their base. You're not ginning up your base. You're waking up a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
You are waking up.
People are tired of getting overblown. I thought Texas was supposed to care about Texas. You care about national crap.
Those voters, particularly red voters that didn't show up to the polls, they're coming.
They're coming, baby.
Coming. And they're going to get every single one of you out, especially those of you that live in the DFW area, especially those that live just outside of Houston. If you're in Austin, Harris County, you're probably still safe. Good for you. But I'm telling you, you guys could lose 8 seats. I would eat my hat if you don't lose 8 seats.
But Nick, we agree with the Republican side, so we got to pretend about cost. Ready? How much does this cost? I care. All right. According to transparencyusa.org. Yep. This is according who quoted Texas House Rep Jared Patterson from Frisco. He claimed that a modest estimate, still an estimate, for the expenses to the taxpayers is upwards of $43,000 every day. The legislator is at a standstill.
That's my money. That's my money that you're spending to go kick it with your buddies.
Lawmakers make $220 per day as per diem during their session. So they are getting per diem right now, being in D.C. because legally we cannot stop payments because it is a session. Because it's a session.
How is that? How are we paying you to not do your job?
Some have said they'll return it, but not all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I doubt. Pardon me if I have my doubts.
But we have $43,000 per day. Oh no, we're super spending.
$43,000
that we're already going to spend.
Well,
do we really care?
Of taxpayer money, and we
do we really care?
We really don't. It's because it's not really going to affect. It's not really going to affect each individual person that much. But still,
the staff isn't going to get paid after September 1, as we mentioned.
Yeah, that's true.
But the private jets, I found out through Transparency USA, cost $81K. Oops. Sorry,
$81K for the flight?
$81K for the round trip. But, I mean, they only took one trip, so it's only $40,500. Look at that. They already saved us taxpayers the cost. Because who knows who's paying for this, but it's likely going to be us.
I mean, I don't. So
it gets tricky with Fed law and campaigns.
Taxes going up. Well, taxes going up by 43,000 is, when you distribute it amongst the population of Texas, it's not going to affect us that much. That being said, I don't like a dime of my money going to someone who is not doing anything.
But they've been fundraising too. Democrats have
fundraising in D.C.
Mm-hmm. Because they're trying to pay for it. But here's where it gets tricky. Because it's a crime to use campaign contributions for personal expenses. However, a lot of them have been maintaining that they are emphasizing that they are in Washington not to avoid their duties, but to lobby Congress to pass for the People Act. So because they're not doing it for personal expenses, but political expenses, they can use some of their campaign funds to pay for this little vacation that's not a vacation.
And we
but it's
know
gonna be a hard
that's
sell.
what you're doing. You're not here to avoid voting. You're not here to get out of voting. And I think that's another thing. I think a lot of people that have just kind of seen this on a cursory level are going to be surprised when they get back and it passes anyway. Because even though I don't think if it passes anyway, that's not really going to be covered. That's not really going to be a big news story.
No, they'll be like, oh, dump it. Never mind.
Say, wait a minute. I thought that they left the state. I thought that they killed the vote. No, you haven't killed the vote. You're there to lobby Congress to try and get them to do your work for you. And we're still paying them a per diem.
We have
which
to.
Which is garbage.
We have to, because
garbage,
if you
garbage,
don't, that just gives them a play. You have to say like, no. See, we were reasonable in trying. When they came back, here's where we get to be fun and be unreasonable back to them.
I want to say, I do want to say, like, we should amend something to say you can get your per diem provided that you're at least in the state of Texas when it happens.
Maybe, yeah, and maybe this is what needs to happen next time. Like, we should put that on the docket for next session. Do not make a special session for that. And here's where it comes to a complete freaking halt.
Okay,
we were having a great gift. Democrats not even thinking about what they're saying, thinking they're saying the right things, and they're just providing great fodder for political ads.
Yep.
And then Dan Patrick decides to talk. And Dan Patrick, what he said is he wants a simple majority. So we don't have to do this again.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
We've already mentioned, Mr. Patrick, that we don't like that idea. Because it allows a simple flip by one vote. Oh, somehow, for some reason, a D is now there instead of an R. And I don't know if people know this. Until the 1990s, Texas was solid Democrat.
Yeah.
So the Republicans have not held the state session for a long eons like people make it seem. It hasn't been that long. So, no. His justification is, majority of other state legislators require a simple majority plus one. So why don't we do that?
Quorum is important. It's not meant to be a minority protection the way it's not meant to be used the way it's being used now. But it is important, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater here. But let's be fair to Dan Patrick, right? And I know we actually. It's weird because like every time we talk about Abbott, I feel like we're like singing his praises. But every time Dan Patrick comes up, we're like, no, that's a bad. We're always talking about something he did wrong. And for the record, I do think this is wrong. But let's be nice to Dan Patrick here for just a second.
Fine.
We need to try and figure out a way to prevent this from happening again. I don't think we should ditch quorum. But we need to figure out a way that quorum can't be used in this way because that's clearly not the intent behind that particular piece of procedure.
I actually had an idea, and I was talking this over with one of my friends about maybe what we could probably do here. And me and her was kind of talking through it. And so I would say provide a procedure and allow compliance. So that's why we do not need a simple majority. That's why we have to have a certain amount of votes in order for stuff to pass. It should stay that way. We've already mentioned how it got lower, and I hate that it got lower. Well, I would say if they come back, or if they stay out of session, or we should change the law, for instance, if they stay out of session purposely to avoid quorum, then the minute they come back, we can call another special session. And if they do it again, or if we just call it again if they don't come back, well, on the second time that they do it or miss a special session intentionally, there should be a loss, and now you vacated your seat. And there should be an amount of days you came back to the first session, and that way it can't say, no. If you pull us again, like maybe you don't do it again, and for another 2 years you got elected. Well, you pull us again, you as a representative, you did this already. No, you stay on zone because you can't. It should be a very short strike list when it comes to doing stuff like this because it shouldn't be something easy where it's like, oh, I didn't think it would be a big deal. Why? You didn't do your job.
Yeah,
that is a big deal. So maybe after that we can vacate seats, and if there's vacated seats, we don't need this for quorum. We can just start doing the vote from then on.
That I think
until they get filled.
That I think we could do. Here's something that would be super ironic though. What if that bill actually went to the floor and they denied quorum in order to get it to not pass?
Maybe.
And they just kept doing it and doing it and doing
Maybe.
it. Something like that though I could see being.
But here's
done.
the biggest thing that I don't like where Dan Patrick came from either. Like I obviously don't like the simple majority.
Yeah.
But what his justification was, majority of other state legislators require this. Why do I care about what other states do? We're Texas. Again, you're supposed to be the one on the rah-rah side of Texas, our Texas.
Federalism.
And you're going to say, I'm looking at other states and what they're doing. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
Screw them.
I don't care what Oregon does.
Texas.
I don't care what California
does.
does.
I actually had it here for the quote. I quote Nikki Boone from Remember the Titans. I do not care. But also, this is dumb from Dan Patrick anyways. This is required 2/3 vote from each chamber. And would also have to pass from our vote as Texas.
Yeah.
Texans may be voted in. That's why I'm scared of it because people will go rah-rah for it. But you have to have 2/3 of each chamber. You're going to think Democrats going to vote this in?
No, absolutely not.
We're back to theater.
Yeah. And this is... Patrick, I see what you're trying to do here, but you're going too far with it. But here's where you Democrats...
That Australian guy TikTok. Patrick!
That is a great guy. I'll have to look that guy up. We'll put a link to his video down in the description. It's an Australian farmer with an alpaca named Patrick. He makes me think of Dan Patrick.
That's how I yell at Dan Patrick.
Democrats, the backlash coming from this is not going to be political. The backlash coming from this is going to come from the people. And it's going to come from people like us. Because, again, I've said this before, but you might have the rest of the media on your side, but we're going to be here. Now for a 60-day special session. We're going to be here, and we're going to be talking about everything that you're not doing while you're not doing it. Yeah. We are going to be that light in the darkness. Because in Texas, the stars at night are big and bright. We'll see you next week.